You parents out there that got children in school, I suggest you pull them out. Start homeschooling. If you're not paying attention, you better start now. With everything that's going on, something is bound to kick it off bad. And that's when martial law may be declared. I want you to think hard about it. Because if martial law is declared while your child is in school, how do you know they will allow you to leave your residence to go get your own child? And if you make it to the school, what if they stop you and tell you for the safety of the children, no one will pick up the children? It's about to get rough. Banks are collapsing. Medicaid you can't afford. People are not receiving food stamp, welfare, WIC for their babies. They knew what they were doing by putting the pressure on us. They wanted this a long time ago. We didn't bite into it. But they done pushed us to a corner to where people may actually have to take to the streets. So I'm telling you, if you got children in school, at least think about what I'm telling you now. It's not going to be safe real soon.
Martial law takes hold. The lines between civilian and military life blur. Soldiers patrol city streets. Curfews are imposed. The press is censored, if not silenced entirely. Political opposition is branded as a threat to national security. And all of this, we're told, is temporary, for our own good. But as the old saying goes, nothing is so permanent as a temporary government program, especially when power is at stake. Across history, the warning signs are always the same. The erosion of free speech, as dissenting voices are silenced under the pretense of national unity. The rise of militarized police, equipped and trained more like soldiers than peace officers. Expansion of emergency powers, as leaders claim extraordinary authority to deal with extraordinary threats. Political opposition is not merely debated, but actively suppressed, labeled as dangerous, even traitorous. And finally, the democratic process itself is undermined, as elections are delayed, disputed, or dismissed altogether.
All right, shalom, shalom, shalom. All praises to the Most High, Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, which is to say in the Paleo Hebrew, Yahweh, which is the name of our Heavenly Father, meaning He is. Bahashim, which means in the name. Yahweh Shai, which means He is our salvation. And those are the names of who the world ignorantly calls God, the Heavenly Father, and Jesus, His only begotten Son, who, by the way, only came for the Israelites. All right? Now, as I was scrolling through TikTok, I came across Unc, and he made a statement that had me to think that if martial law was indeed enacted while your children were at school because you dropped them off to go to work and something happened during that time that caused the alarm to be sounded that martial law is now being enacted, would you be able to go to your school and would you be able to go to your children's school and to pick them up? And the short answer to that is no. Okay? And I Googled it. I said, can you get your child from school if martial law is enacted during school hours? And this is what the AI overview said. Under martial law, civilian authority is replaced by military rule. So you no longer have rights over your children in the sense that you can just go and pick them up from off campus or off your school premises, okay? Because you're going to have lockdowns. You're going to have guards saying whether or not you could come and go because of the threat that they're going to use of an imminent threat. They have to make sure they secure the whole premises. And that may mean you may not be able to get to your child, okay? You may not be able to leave your work for that point, or your home, or your house, or your city, or whatever it's at. It says, under martial law, civilian authority is replaced by military rule, meaning standard civil liberties, including parental rights to pick up children, can be suspended. And the grounds of martial law is being formed right now with all this tension, especially coming into this midterm election year of something happening. Venezuela, they just took the acting president and his wife. Now they're threatening to take Greenland for national security purposes. On top of that, they're saying that they want to take Colombia and Cuba. Speaking of this administration, Trump's administration, all right, his cabinet as well, because they're all on board, all right? And much more is happening, all right? That, some type of T attack, and by T I mean terrorist attack, can prompt a nationwide effect where martial law goes in and they deploy more troops and guards and foreign troops at that to police or military your city or state. All right? So it says the rights to pick up your children can be suspended with military commanders enforcing laws. While schools might try normal procedures, martial law overrides them, potentially requiring parents to follow specific military directives or face restrictions on movement and access. Now just imagine they told you that you got to go down to one of these detention centers to pick up your child at a later time, and that you had to get chipped because there's some type of outbreak, okay? And we have to quarantine your child from you for a matter of time, whether it's a day or a week or so on and so forth. What are you going to do? See? What are you going to do? These are things that's realistically, in the times that we coming into and the times that we in, can take place. It says potentially requiring parents to follow specific military directives or face restrictions on movement and access, making it highly uncertain and dependent on the specific rules established by the military government. Right. So little Timmy might not be seeing you for a while, okay? Here it is. You thought you was just going to go to work, drop off your son or daughter, and come back and pick them up later that day, okay? Or you thought you would come back from work, wait at the bus stop for little Timmy and Jane to get off the school bus, but little did you know, martial law was enacted during the day, and now they're under the supervision of the military. And you can't get to them for a undetermined period of time. All right? So these things are possible, and these things are at the doorstep, okay? Because America the Great is falling. Just did a video, okay? So let's get a few precepts. So this is the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 16, and let's just jump down to it, verse 68. It says, "For, behold, the burning wrath of a great multitude is kindled over you." See, this is going into that very exact time. "And they shall take away certain of you and feed you, being idle with things offered unto idols." All right, that burning wrath of a great multitude is speaking of what? Those troops. UN troops, United Nations troops, foreign troops from other countries that's going to be here on America's soil, National Guards, ICE, whatever. All right? Under the state of martial law, the military takes control over everything. All right? They may take you, they may take little Timmy or Jane down to one of these detention centers for whatever reason. Because why? Under martial law, they seize and take over all power. All right. And if they're out of your sight and out of your, and speaking of your children, if your children are out of your sight and now under the state of whatever school they go to, public school they go to, then guess what? You don't have rights to them anymore. All right. Under martial law, the military takes over command of everything. So it says, for behold, the burning wrath of a great multitude is kindled over you, and they shall take away certain of you. That means your children as well. And feed you, being idle, with things offered unto idols, right? Because if you out of work and you have no job and you need some type of, money to buy it or whatever, you're going to come down there and get one of these chips so you can work, or so that you can get what they would call a universal basic income, UBI, put onto it so you can feed little Timmy or Jane or whatever. But if it goes down that martial law is enacted while your child is at school or at daycare or wherever, and that city or street or road is blocked off and you can't get to them, and they tell you, well, go down to this address right here and we will distribute your child back to you under these certain circumstances. And one of those circumstances being that you must be chipped because there is a pestilence that's plaguing this country or this particular part of area, and we have to quarantine you and have you take this device, RFID microchip. Then what are you going to be left to do with? Are you going to take that chip so you can see your little son or daughter again? And for the most part, majority of the people are, because why? They're sentimental, okay? They want to see their child. They want to comfort their children. Well, we understand in this truth, we have to be ready to lose it all, even if that includes our children. Because if we take that microchip because we want to see our child again and to comfort them and to reassure them that everything is going to be all right, daddy's here, mommy's here, hey, we ain't fit for the kingdom, man. It's just that plain and simple. It's just that cut and dry. All right? If you have faith in the Lord, you will understand that Yahweh, through his only begotten son, Yahweh will make a way if it's in your lot to see and receive your children's again, where you don't have to compromise yourself to get it. And that's going to be a lot for someone to hold and to understand and take when they're so tied to this world and to their children. So it says, for behold, the burning wrath of a great multitude is kindled over you, and they shall take away certain of you and feed you, being idle, with things offered unto idols. It's going into that RFID microchip. Verse 69. And they that consent, see, they're not going to force you. They're going to say, well, hey, we ain't forcing you, but in order for you to get and to see your child again or to get work or for whatever, you have to consent to taking this charagma, this RFID microchip. It says, and they that consent unto them shall be had in derision and in reproach and trodden underfoot, right? Because now you belong to them. You belong to the state, all right? They can do whatever it is with you that they please. And if you come up against them and argue with them, they can just cut your chip off. And they that consent, see? A lot of people are going to fold under that pressure of not seeing their child again. Well, your child is going to be awarded to the state, and we're going to give them over to a parent or parents that have conformed to this new society of taking this chip. Because little do you know, under martial law, they're already awarded to the state, all right? So under martial law, they now act as the guardian or parent, all right? And if you don't consent, who's to say that they're not going to chip your child? Hey, these are very likely and highly possibilities, okay? That's why we got to pray that the Lord directs and guide our paths, okay? Because this devil, hey, he's playing for keeps, man. All right? If he can use your child as a bargain device or token to get you to get chipped, in order to receive your child back, and at a later time may tell you that you have to get your child chipped, then a lot of people are going to go for it. Okay? And it says, and they that consent unto them shall be had in derision and in reproach and trodden under foot. For there shall be in every place and in the next cities a great insurrection upon those that fear the Lord. Speaking of the Israelites. All right. They shall be like madmen, sparing none, but still spoiling and destroying those that fear the Lord. Right. So you already know they got it after the Israelites. All right. And particularly the elect of Israel. You so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, those that know that you're Israelites and those that are keeping the word of the Heavenly Father. All right? They watching. They know if you got a child and what time you drop that child off at school and what have you, and they know whether or not you know you an Israelite. All right? That's who they really looking to make war. All right? As it says in Revelation. Is it Revelation 12? They looking to make war with the saints, those that keep the commandments. This is Revelation chapter 12 and verse 17. It says, and the dragon, which represents by Esau Edom, the so-called white man, was wroth with the woman, the Israelites, and went to make war with the remnant of her seed. Speaking of the elect, which keep the commandments of the Most High and have the testimony of Yahweh Shah HaMashiach. So how much more if the Lord uses him to test you to see whether or not you believe and have faith in Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahweh Shah, that he gives you that test to see whether or not you're going to pick your child over him. All right? And he allows Esau Edom to scoop up your child doing martial law and take him down to a detention center, all right, where in order for you to get back your child, you're going to have to take that charagma, that RFID microchip. What do? What do you say? Matthew 10. See, this is the mindset we have to get into, okay? We have to be ready. In 37. This is Matthew 10 and 37. It says, he that loveth father or mother more than me is not worthy of me. You may have a parent that's in what they would call adult daycare. Or you may have a parent or, someone that's dependent on you that you may need to pick up or take to the hospital when martial law enacts. But guess what? You can't get to them because why? They shut down that city. They shut down that hospital. They shut down whatever it is. And now in order for you to get to them and see them again, you have to revene with them at a later time at a disclosed location, where in order for you to get them and take them back, you have to take that charagma. All right? It says, he that loveth father or mother more than me is not worthy of me. Verse 37. And he that loveth son or daughter more than me is not worthy of me. And if you take that chip, you just show that you love your life, and that includes having your mother or father or son or daughter over Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahweh Shai, who gave you them. All right? So we really have to put this into consideration, that we must be willing to lose it all and to forsake our life for Yahweh Shai's sake. These are the thoughts, all right, that must come into our mind and to have us meditate on, because we have to meditate on prophecy. Let's read that. Ecclesiasticus chapter 39 and verse 1. This is all part of the prophecy we're reading. It says, Ecclesiasticus or Sirach, which is in the Apocrypha, chapter 39, verse 1 says, but he that giveth his mind to the law of the Most High and is occupied in the meditation thereof will seek out the wisdom of all the ancient and be occupied in prophecies. The mark of the beast is a prophecy. All right? Esau Edom using your loved ones as a bargain device is part of the prophecy. Will you consent? Or will you have faith when martial law is enacted? That may be the name of the title. Will you consent or will you have faith when martial law is enacted? Okay? Because that's going to be, for a lot of people, that test. The hour of temptation cometh to try the whole earth. Revelation 3 and 10. Let's read it. Revelation chapter 3 and verse 10. Because thou hast kept the word of my patience. See? This is why we're building up our faith by keeping the word of the patience of Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai. He says, I also, this is Yahweh Shai speaking, will keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth. Will you consent or will you have faith when martial law is enacted? Because he's coming. Isaiah chapter 10 and verse 1 reads, woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees. Right, that martial law is going to be an unrighteous decree. That military takes over all presiding authority, even parental authority. It says, in that right grievingness which they have prescribed. Right, you don't think they put that into play for this time that we seen that's at the forefront? Of course they did. The Lord had them to do it, man. This is all, see, once you understand that this is all the Lord's movie and we just, part of it, hey, you want to get in good standing with the director, Yahweh, through his only begotten son, Yahweh Shai, so that when this movie plays out, which we see is playing out, that we will have a starring role or a good part in it, that we will be what? Looked out after, okay? And comforter, that we know the script. Because why? We've been reading the script over and over and over, so we know how to prepare ourselves when the movie comes to a theater near you, all right? So now we're prepared. Because why? We have the script. We know how it's going to go. We know Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, has to come down with great wrath because he has but a little time. But we know not all of Israel is going to be saved during that time, especially here in America. 2/3 will be burned up by the way of missiles in the chariots, and the 1/3 elect will be delivered by the way of the chariots. All right? He has to enact, martial law, deploy UN, United Nations troops, Eventually, he has to make the microchip mandatory in order to buy and sell. And those that consent to taking that chip are going to be in derision, are going to be trodden down underfoot. So it would behoove them not to do so, but they don't have any power of their own will. It's all according to the Heavenly Father's will, who's going to take the microchip and who isn't. So this is why we fear the Lord. This is why we're keeping the word of his patience in this time before all hell breaks loose, so that when these times come to pass, the Lord will keep us. And not just keep us, but have us in that sound mind. What's that? 1 Timothy. Get this last one and then we'll probably close out. 1 Timothy. It's not 6 and 10. 2 Timothy. This is 2 Timothy chapter 1 and verse 7. It reads, for the Most High have not given us the spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. See? So this is why we're keeping the word in patience, so that we can have that sound mind once everyone else is flipping out, because they don't have a sound mind. They don't have the spirit of power and of love and of sound mind, but they have the spirit of fear, because they fear losing their child, not seeing their child again. losing their job, not having a job, losing their loved ones, their parents, not seeing them again. And we know Esau Edom is going to use this. See? Understanding what you evolved in or understanding what you are involved with is going to go a long way in these times, man. And that's why you have to be deadly serious with this truth. All right? Because we're going to lose a lot on this side. But we're going to get it all back in the kingdom, man. And this is a serious warning. You're going to lose a lot on this side, including your children, including your parents, including your lands. But you got to have a sound mind that the Lord ain't going to take it from you and not give it back to you, man. All right? So get in the mindset. You're going to lose not seeing your son or daughter or your mother or your father. It's part of the walk, man. But it's temporarily. You're going to get them back in the kingdom. This is Matthew chapter 19. And let's start at verse 20. 27. This is Matthew 19:27. Then answered Peter and said unto him, Behold, we have forsaken all and followed thee. What shall we have therefore? So you're going to, hey, if it comes down to whether or not taking the microchip or seeing your daughter or son again, or your mother or your father or any loved one, it's a no-brain question. You do not take the microchip, man. It says, let's read it again. St. Matthew 19:27. Then answered Peter and said unto him, Behold, we have forsaken all and followed thee. What shall we have therefore? Verse 28. And Yahushua said unto them, Verily I say unto you, that ye which have followed me in the regeneration, when the Son of Man shall sit in the throne of his glory, ye also shall sit upon 12 thrones, judging the 12 tribes of Israel. And here's the point, verse 29. And every one that have forsaken houses, or brethren, or sisters, or father, or mother, or wife, or children's, St. Matthew 10:37, or lands for my name's sake. Whose name's sake? Yahweh's name's sake, shall receive 100-fold and shall inherit everlasting kingdom. Verse 30, but many that are first shall be last, and last shall be first. If you don't have this mindset, you ain't going to make it. If you easily persuaded because you love your life more than you hate it for Yahweh's sake, you ain't going to make it, man. You ain't going to make it. It's going to be your breaking point. This is coming to try the whole earth. Will you consent or will you have faith when martial law is enacted? Pray to the Father, Yahweh, through his only begotten Son, Yahweh, that he gives you the strength to have faith, to believe that you're going to get it all back. And by doing the works and keeping his word shows that you have faith. Because if you consent, that's it. You're going to lose everything anyways. All for a what? Momentary hug? You're going to throw it all away just to hug your child one last time? To give your father or mother a kiss one last time? Come on. Come on. We got bigger fish to fry, man. You got to have that kingdom mind. You're going to see him in the kingdom for eternal. We just read it. It says, and shall inherit everlasting life. Pray that the Lord directs and guides your paths. Okay? Proverbs 3:5. Lean not unto thy own understanding, but acknowledge him in all thy ways, and he, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, shall direct thy paths. 1 Peter chapter 5 and verse 8. It reads, be sober. You got to put your emotions aside. We know we love our children, our mother and our fathers and our loved ones, but the word is telling us to be sober, man. Edom doesn't care about your feelings. He's going to use them against you to get you to consent. This is getting us prepared for when this devil comes in and he rolls and he uses your emotions and your feelings and your ties to this world to consent to his world in order to keep your world, which is going to all come crashing down because his world is at an end. 2nd Ezra 6:9. Esau, the so-called white man, is the end of this world, age, and era, and Jacob, the so-called blacks, Latinos, Native Americans, is the beginning of it that followeth, and we're going to have everlasting life. So it's only temporarily, it's only momentarily, man, that you're giving it up to receive everlasting life. This is what's going to separate the elect from the 2/3, man. Their faith, their belief. So it says, 1 Peter chapter 5 and verse 8, be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary, the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about seeking whom he may devour. And if you can tell and sense that your weakness, that you have passion or emotions for your loved ones, he's going to use it against you to get you to consent. And then you're going to be in derision and trodden under feet for a momentary lapse. Pray to the Lord that he gives you the strength to ride it out. Okay? As we read, he did not give us the spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind through this word. You should be prepared. You should be preparing yourself for this through this word, through this truth. So that when it happens, you already be prepared. Lord willing, Abba Ratazah, Father will. All right? So be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary, the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about, seeking whom he may devour. All right? So with that being said, pray someone was edified through this lesson. And until the next time, if it be the Lord's will, stay strong, stay in the faith. We're almost home. Shalom. Peace.